Hi guys. I heard that a few people liked my story I wrote last time, so I guess I'll continue it, and I hope you guys still like it. And I got to give some people credit for this and what happened. I love you guys. Thank you very much, and enjoy the story of part 2 of Let Me Fade. Part 2. I woke up on the hallway floor, curled up in a ball. I turned my head over and saw it being 2 a.m. in the morning. I made sure that all the doors were locked in the house. I went back into my room and dragged my mother to her bed where my father laid. It was a sad sight to bear. Tears fall from my eyes as I collapsed to my knees, laying my head on the bed, wondering what will happen to my life now, as I slowly fall asleep knowing that I was next to my dead parents. When I awoke, I could see the sun outside, bright as could be. Turned my head over and glanced at the clock. It was now 10 a.m. I jumped to my feet, looking down at my parents, and looked back up, knowing I should not show any fear. They were dead, and they would want me to live. I have to live for them, I said, as I was crying a little bit. I ran to my room, changing out of my clothes, grabbing my bat off the floor, and grabbing my father's guns. I went to the front door. Alright, Mom and Dad. I know that you would be proud of me if I could stay alive. So, for now I'm on my own, by myself. Thank you. Thank you for everything you've taught me. For now. Farewell for now. Till we meet in heaven. I said as I slowly opened the door, still crying, but to look and see what would be outside of this mess. To the left there was nothing, and to the right there was still nothing, so the close I thought was clear. I jumped out and closed the door behind me, and readied out my pistol, holding it to my side for any trace of those things that could happen. Walking down the road, I came across an intersection and I heard moaning to the left of me. I readied out the pistol in front of me and I turned to the left. The pistol fell from my hands because I was in shock. So many! I said fearfully. By the look of it, there seemed to be over 50 of those things that looked like my mother slowly walking towards me. I turned my back to them and ran as fast as I could from them, looking behind me. Without knowing what had really happened, I ran into one of those things and fell onto my back, landing onto my backpack. It was looking away from me, but turned around and looked right down at me. I screamed at the look of its face. It was hideous. His eyes were falling out of his eye socket, his nose was bit off, and his jaw cut in half with blood all over him. He tried to fall on top of me, but I rolled over and jumped up, as then we had switched spots, and now I was looking down at him. I grabbed my bat to my side and ran away from him and the crowd, running and running, not knowing where to go or to even talk to. It seemed like I was the only one left alive, but I knew for my family's sakes that I had to try to stay alive. Things more and more popped up wherever I went. I heard a voice calling out to me. "Run to the woods," it said. Should I trust this random voice? And why the woods? Wouldn't that seem to be like one of the last places to go? I stopped, and I was surrounded by them. I looked to my left and to my right. They were in a circle around me, slowly closing in. I gripped my back, and I yelled at them, "Come at me!" And they started to get a little faster. I slammed my fist while my first hit across one of their heads, as their bodies flew, blood gashing everywhere, as then they knocked down 3 more, and more, and more. Finally, the path was now open, so when I tried to head that way, I knocked 2 more out and pressed on. I'm starting to breathe much more heavier now. It kind of makes sense for running over 2 hours. I just noticed that the woods were to my right. I looked to my left, and there was a crowd, no way through them. I sighed heavy. Well, boys, I guess you win. I catch my breath, so I ran into the woods. About 5 minutes later, after running into the woods, it seemed like the coast was clear, so I shouted, "So! I'm in the woods now! Where am I supposed to go?" I glimpsed my left eye. I saw a girl, standing in an open field, with her hands together, like she was praying. I started to walk towards her, holding my bat, ready to see if she was wondering one of those things. So I had to make sure to be safe. Well, guys, that's the end of part 2. Hope you like it. Probably wasn't as good as my first one. I'm still working on it. I hope you like my story. I give thanks to the people, to the fans, and I also give thanks to Adron von Wengler on YouTube for making the great music he has on here. Give thanks to my somewhat brother-in-law because he threatened to kill me if I didn't finish this. And hope you all have a good night, good morning, wherever you live. Thank you.